Hello, and welcome to our THF Conversations, a leadership spotlight program in celebration of Global Entrepreneurs Week. My name is Anita Davis, and I am the Community Outreach and Engagement Program Manager here at the Henry Ford. And today I have the pleasure of speaking with KeyBank's Michigan Market President Dave Mannarino. Welcome, and thank you for joining.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here. Thanks for having me, Anita.
Wonderful. So you recently have been named one of Detroit's 500 most powerful business leaders by the Business magazine. Congratulations. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that you do at KeyBank?
Sure. Thanks. I am absolutely honored to be selected for that Detroit 500. When I found out that I made the list, I kind of sat back. I'm like, oh my gosh. As I'm looking through the list, I'm like, it's a real humbling experience because there's all these wildly successful leaders on that list. So I definitely was honored by that. But a little bit about myself. I grew up in Dearborn Heights. I went to Divine Child High School. I went to University of Detroit Mercy for undergrad and grad school. Got my MBA from U of D. Most of my career, I was overseas. I lived in Belgium and London, England, for a bank out there. But moved back to Michigan about 3 years ago to be closer to family. And that's when I found KeyBank. And so my job is the president for the state of Michigan for KeyBank. I'm responsible for growing the market share, really all aspects of the business, from small business all the way up to the institutional side of the bank. And I'm also responsible for the philanthropic activities for the state as well. My teams and I work with business owners and entrepreneurs really to help them make sound business decisions and grow their business and really be part of the journey with them. And the other final thing that we do is we try to have some fun along the way. I think over the past 3 years, we've kind of lost this fun aspect a bit. So my teams and I, we celebrate our successes and we try to have some fun, and we have a family first type of culture at Key. 2 seconds on Key. Key is a very entrepreneurial bank. That was one of the things that drove me to the bank. And I'm just really excited to be here telling you a little bit about my story as well. So thanks, Anita. I appreciate it.
Of course, I love it. So kind of just getting into it. So KeyBank is one of the country's top small business lenders and a champion for women-owned business for more than 50 years. Can you tell us why supporting entrepreneurs, especially women, is really important to KeyBank?
Sure. So really supporting entrepreneurs in general is at the absolute core of the Key philosophy. And the women aspect of the business is absolutely front and center. We have a really cool program called Key for Women, which is really designated to empower business women. So what we do is it supports the financial progress and empowerment of really all business women. And we do this through advocacy, through internal and external connections, and empowerment. And so when you think about this, think of it as, how can KeyBank open any type of door for not only an entrepreneur, but a woman entrepreneur or businesswoman. And we really want to be part of this process with them throughout the entire journey. The program has been in place since 2005, and we've helped literally hundreds of women along their entrepreneurial and executive journey. So if you go into any of our branches, the folks in the branch are all trained and on this Key for Women program, and really everyone in the bank is supporting it along the way. So it's a really cool program. If you go to our website, there's a tab for the program Key for Women, and you can get more information there. And it's just really empowering a lot of women along the way. So
I love it. We'll make sure that we keep that link in available for our viewers.
Yeah.
It is great to hear that KeyBank is part of that push to grow women entrepreneurs, because you hear about it more and more. So it's really great that you guys are one of the forerunners in pushing that forward.
Yeah, and even on the small business side, it's pretty impressive. I mean, I think when I really kind of boil it down, we really believe that small business, in conjunction with the women-owned aspect, is really the heart of growing a local community. And I think that's really important because when we work with clients on the small business side, we really work with them on their financial goals, but we don't push products, and no bank should be doing that. Really, what these entrepreneurs need is tailored financial solutions, meeting them where they're at. I mean, some might be early stage, some might be mid stage, some might just be struggling with how to scale their business. And really that's where a bank like Key can kind of come in and help. I got to also make a plug. I mean, when it comes to SBA lending, there's a SBA 7A lender program. We are top 5 in the country for that. And we're a preferred lender.
That's amazing.
For over 20 years. So it's really in our DNA to help these small businesses grow and stay with them throughout their journey.
I love it. That's great. That's absolutely amazing. So as many may know, the Henry Ford was founded obviously by one of the best known American entrepreneurs. Our collection of artifacts and stories covering over 300 years of American innovation helped us develop a learning curriculum and framework called Model I that applies the habits and actions of an innovator and innovation. One of those habits is collaborate. Can you talk a little bit about how you collaborate with entrepreneurs to help them realize their business dreams?
Sure. And I think that Model I is amazing, by the way. But I think it all comes down to spending as much time as you possibly can with the entrepreneur. Because most of these folks are going really fast and they have a vision, and sometimes they're trying to figure out how to accomplish that vision. So I or the bank spends a lot of time really understanding the vision, where they're at today and where they want to go. And majority of this is done by collaboration. I look at collaboration and transparency as running hand in hand, because if your partners can be transparent with you as an entrepreneur along the journey, it's just going to be that much better of an experience as you launch your product or scale your product. I think too often we jump right to the end game without really understanding how to get from point A to point B. Everyone wants to go right to the IPO, and there's a lot of stages that have to be accomplished through hard work between the starting point and the end point. But I think once we understand the vision, what we can do is then create a roadmap, which would include milestones, really to keep everyone on track, and how we prepare them for that financial journey or that growth journey. The other thing I think that's we're able to do to help entrepreneurs is we're able to connect entrepreneurs with other business leaders or other businesses in general that we feel there's a good fit for additional collaboration on other aspects, like engineering, prototype work, HR, prospect strategy, pitching. And I think that's what helps give the entrepreneurs a little bit more, kind of backbone support to take their business to the next level.
Definitely. That's great because, like you said, no one gets to where they are by themselves. So you need someone, both a bank and other entrepreneurs, to help you really get to your goal, because that goal may adjust as you learn more about kind of the business and the work that takes to get some of these things done. So it's great that you help them with the roadmap and all of that. It's amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course. So in addition to lending services, KeyBank has spent more than $1 billion with diverse business enterprises such as KeyBank's operation, and also encourage diversity through through your supply chain. Can you share an example, a story, maybe a success story of how this model is helping underrepresented entrepreneurs grow their business, in turn helping communities thrive?
Yeah, for sure. This is a really important point. I think a key, we really encourage diversity in every aspect of the business, but one in particular that's exciting is this diverse vendor program. And this is a program that a diverse vendor can work hand in hand with a bank. And really kind of the way that you get into this program is, there's on our website, there's a link that you can go on and qualify yourself. But once you inquire about the service, We then work with you to identify if you qualify. If you don't qualify, we can help you to try to find a way to qualify. But assuming, let's say you are, there's upcoming opportunities that we can talk to you about either through RFPs that the bank is doing as a whole, or locally what we're doing where we might need some additional services. So we really look at that list of diverse suppliers first. And the other thing that we do, if you're in this program, is we put you on a nationwide database. So really anyone in the country in the leadership role at Key can look at that and say, I need a certain supplier for this or that. And they can look to that program first. So it's a really cool program. Definitely check it out on the website. A good example, the one that kind of comes to mind, which I think is kind of a fun one. We had a small business owner, diverse business owner that inquired through the program, and they wanted to start a catering business. And so they kind of reached out and said, hey, can we do some catering for you? And so we gave this particular company a try, and the food was amazing. And we were doing this just locally for our team for events. So if you fast forward to where we are today with them, we started doing more and more with them, referring them to other people within the KeyBank network, which I think is also really important to get the name out. Now the company is doing great, and they're looking at starting a restaurant, and so we're going to help them along that journey as well. And all of that came out of the this diverse supplier platform that we have. So if you are a diverse supplier, definitely go on the website and sign up, because it is awesome, and you'll definitely get traction with Key.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, taking it a step further beyond just the services you provide, but actually saying, hey, we'll try you out. And then that can also deepen your relationship as you're guiding them through this program. So I think that's great. That's absolutely great.
Yeah, it's kind of like I look at it, I really do mean this too. I look at it as kind of the KeyBank family. And once you're kind of in that community, we really do try to help each other, whether it's existing customers helping other customers, or suppliers helping customers, or customers helping suppliers. So it's exciting to see. So
it's great. It's like a virtual marketplace where everyone can just come together and
help
each other out. I love it. It's great.
It's cool.
So yeah, another model I habit of innovators is take risk. The decision to start a business is a huge life-changing risk for entrepreneurs, their families, and supporters. As a leader in the lending industry, what advice would you have for an aspiring entrepreneur who might not be sure, or not sure if they're ready to take that first step?
Yeah, it is certainly a big step, and one that shouldn't be taken lightly by any means. I think my advice would be that they have to be 100% committed to making it work, and really putting in the hard work to get it done. They also have to be convinced that the strategy that they're talking about or contemplating can scale, and that people are going to want to buy it, whatever that product or service is. And that, success doesn't happen overnight. I mean, if you look at Henry Ford as an example, he stuck it out. He went through failure, he went through success, and he kept going. And I think that really comes down to grit. And, you have to have the right amount of grit to keep going. And it's a hard process, but I think that if the people that are successful at it are the ones that were convinced that they could get it done and willing to put the work in to get it done. I would also highly recommend that they talk to other entrepreneurs that are in the same industry or at the same point of the decision-making process. Because I think you can be an entrepreneur and have 4 or 5 ideas swirling around in your mind, but if you talk to other entrepreneurs that are at that point of the decision-making process, they can kind of help to say, hey, when I was kind of throwing that around in my mind, this was the constraint that I had, and this is how I overcame it. Or this is the constraint I had, and I couldn't overcome it. So maybe you won't be able to overcome it either, or take a different angle. So, another set of eyes on the business model never hurts. And when people talk about their business model to other people, and people try to poke holes in it or be the devil's advocate, I view that as a benefit because they're really helping the entrepreneurs screen the opportunity
Yeah.
before they get down the path, and could maybe fix an issue, before it becomes an issue. So
Definitely. And honestly, you're probably answering questions that you probably need to answer now before you get too far into the process.
right,
So yeah, that collaborative piece with other entrepreneurs is key. Is key
yep,
to. It is also to destigmatize the glamorizing of entrepreneurship, and so I think having those real conversations with both you and other entrepreneurs really helps a budding entrepreneur really
yeah,
focus in on what they're trying to accomplish.
yeah, yeah. We do a lot of that with that just as an example, that key for women program. There's a lot of that interaction that's
Mhm.
going on, but yeah, I think you're right. I think there's this glamour that at the end, you're flying in
Mhm.
a private plane to New York to do the IPO, which
Right.
could happen without a doubt, but there's a lot of steps that get to that point.
Exactly, exactly. I love it. So great. Yeah. So the Henry Ford's collection and programs help to showcase ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Our vision is to be a force of fueling the spirit of American innovation, invention, and entrepreneurship. We think about entrepreneurs not just as business owners, but folks who see and maximize opportunities, learn from failure, and also have that grit to keep reaching for success. How do you think we can all benefit from adopting an entrepreneurial mindset?
I think we can all benefit from an entrepreneurial mindset by really three things. First, being curious. The second, challenging the norm. And three, really trying to make even the little things better is probably the best way I'd put it. If you look at how far we've come with a can-do mentality, as an example, from manufacturing advancements to electric cars to diversity advancements on a lot of fronts,
Mhm.
um, to healthcare advances. I mean, look at what we were able to accomplish in healthcare, through COVID,
Right.
um, to just being, really just being more in touch with the human side of work. Like work from home flexibility, extended parental leave, things along those lines. And if you think about how we've gone as far as we've gone, and I agree there's work to be done, but when you look at where we are today, that's all done by being curious, challenging the norm,
Mhm.
and really trying to make a difference by doing the little things better. Um, you know, I really believe that, at the end of the day, if we just look out for each other, um, by being good neighbors, we can get a lot of these things done, and we can all benefit together. So I think
Yeah.
it's kind of
No,
works.
completely agree. Completely agree. But Dave, this has been absolutely amazing conversation. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me and sharing the work that you're doing to celebrate and support entrepreneurs in our community and throughout the country. I would like to thank you all for tuning in. We hope you're celebrating the entrepreneurs in your life. And we hope that you'll shop this holiday season to help small businesses thrive. We invite you to visit the Henry Ford in Dearborn, Michigan, as well as our website at thf.org to learn more about other innovators, inventors, and entrepreneurs who inspire us every day. Again, thank you, Dave, for joining us today, and thank you all, and have a great one.